Hello.
It's all about Ghanaian languages. It's all about Ghanaian languages. It's all about Ghanaian languages.
Hello everyone and welcome once again to this channel, and today we shall be looking at the Dwan, Wiase and the Basa people. Okay, and this we shall also be looking at the Dompo, Mpre and then other languages, and in this video it is entitled Minor Guan Languages in Ghana. Okay, so without wasting much time, let's just begin. First of all, this channel, okay, I teach the Ghana language, Guan, histories and cultures and other Ghanaian languages, Dangbe language, Ghana culture. So I have lots of documentaries on the Ghana and the Dangbe culture. Okay, so if you want to learn about Dangbe deities, dialect and so everything is on the channel. So we have videos like Quest for the Elder Deities, which is a documentary, okay, where I travel to visit towns where we spoke about the elder deities. You have Atao Sabu, Atao Sha, the water deities and so on. Okay, and if you want to read more, I publish articles on my blog Huniah-Yourhighness.com, and it may soon change to Huniah-Yourhighness.com. Nonetheless, if you write the historical Huniah-Yourhighness.com, it will redirect you to the Huniah-Yourhighness.com, and if you still write Huniah-Yourhighness.com, it will still redirect you to the historical Huniah-Yourhighness.com. Yeah, it will change very soon, probably before the end of this month, that is December. So probably from 2026, both will work. Whether I write historical Huniah-Yourhighness.com or Huniah-Yourhighness.com, both would work. But for now, it's just the historical Huniah.blogspot.com. So without much I talk, let's just begin. When you go up north, okay, we have the Bono East region, which is in the central belt of Ghana, and in the Sine district, in those areas, we have the Dwan people, and these Dwan people are Guans. It is said that Dwan comes from the Akan word Drame, meaning shake me, okay, as a form of congratulation, like, oh wow, well done, Drame, shake me, or shake my hand, Drame. Well, according to one Prof Yane, he made me understand that the Guans who supported some of the accounts back then, after everything was successful, they were congratulated, Drame. But then when you look typically, okay, there is another version which sounds more realistic, because when you check the tree language, everything that is gu or gua in Guan becomes gua, or fancy becomes dra in the tree language. So even, for example, we have the fancy or the Guan word egua, which is a chair, and in fancy it is a dra. We have gom, which is dream in tree, while the fancies and other Guans will say gom. So even in some Guan we say eguaso or aguaso, that is market, whereas the fancies also say guado. Maybe in tree, Miko Jale, I'm going to buy, but the fancies Miko Guar or Miko Guar. So usually all the becomes gua. So the people being Guan, okay, and you know Akans are used to change the go sound, or the tree people, not Akans, sorry, the tree people are used to change the gua sound to dra. So the more realistic one is they call themselves Guan, and then the tree speakers up there, because they are more tree speakers, that's the Bono tree speakers, they obviously will change the gua to dra. So Guan then becomes Dwan. Okay, yeah, because they are Guans. They say identify as Guan people, but then the three people call them the Dwan. But they themselves, they don't call themselves Dwan. They call their language Kenyang. Kenyang. Okay, so the Dwan is obviously an Akan naming. So the Dwan makes sense to be an Akanized version of the word Guan. Okay, and among the Guan or the Dwan people, there is this Wiase, Bantama, and Mframa people, and history goes that they are from the Wasa areas. Wasa, and you know the Wasa migrated. It seems a group of Wasa people were going up north, perhaps due to trade or something. And when they got there, notice the Guans were like, oh, these are people. And you know, the old Wasa people were actually Guan speakers. The old Wasa were actually Pepenza speakers. Currently, Wasa people are speaking Tree. They call it the Wasa Tree. But in the old Wasas, or maybe if you go 300 years back, the old Wasas were not speaking Tree. They're speaking Pepenza. So if right now when you go to Wasa, there's a small Wasa community which have still preserved the Pepenza language. And then Wasas will let you know plainly that they used to speak Pepenza, but now the Pepenza has been replaced with the Tree. So perhaps the old Wasas who migrated up north, when they got to where the giants were, they were like, oh, these are our brothers, they're speaking our language, and perhaps they decided to settle with them. But then the name Wasa is what has been corrupted to Wiase. So that's why we have the giant Wiase. So it's Wasa, but they've been corrupted to, and now the giant are patrilineal. But then the Wasa or the Wiase are matrilineal. They are matrilineal. And you know, when you go presently into the Bia speaking areas or the Western Guan areas, which is the Western region, those people are now mainly, although even those who speak the modernized version of the old Guan there, perhaps the Ahanta, the Enyi and Co., they used to speak the old Guan, which was more Guan, but currently the version of what they speak is now what you call in linguistics the Bia language, which seems to be a mix of Guan and Akan, and they've taken their own shift, so it has changed completely. Yeah, and currently almost all of them are matrilineal now. So perhaps the Wiase people, yes, they migrated without matrilineal inheritance. So Wiase, Bantama, and Mframa, they are all matrilineal, and perhaps some people from Wiase went to establish the Mframa and Bantama areas. And Bantama obviously come from the word in Bantama my father gave to me, and there is a Bantama area in the Ashanti region. Wiase, Mframa, and then Bantama, they are still speaking Dwan or Kenyan, but they speak it with an accent. So it's the same language, but they are speaking Dwan with an accent. Then the third in that group is the Basa people, originally known as the Bacha people. So the natives call themselves Bacha, whereas the Akanized version of that name is Basa. In their language, or in the Guan language, Bacha Aneso, come and join us. It is said that the Bacha or the Basa are originally not Guans, but they came to settle with the Krachi people, perhaps due to cultural affinities or a relation they had, and they were made to stay in those areas. And so they were like, oh, Anne Bachaneso, you guys should come and join us. So the Bachaneso became Bacha. And when you study the Guan language, it has linguistic affiliations with the Ga. So even Ga itself would have said, come and join us, Bacha. So Bacha will know. Whereas the Guans will say Bachaneso. Okay, so the Bacha is what has been said is now Bacha. So even some Guan communities, okay, like perhaps the Nari and they call them Becha. They have the Naris and the Ntsumburun's here, but I know some Guan people call them the Becha. What do you call it of Bacha? Yeah, but the Bacha or the Becha has been modernized to Basa. Nonetheless, like I said earlier, there are some other Guan groups up there, and we have some few like the Dompo. Now the Dompo language is now an extinct Guan language. It used to look like Gonja, because when you check the Dompo very well, how they say head Kungo and Co is trying to look like Gonja, but then I don't know whether it is a Gonja that's on Ntsumburuns dialect, because Ntsumburuns is also closely related to Gonja. Closely related, yeah, but then all I can say is Dompo was a northern Guan language because it has those characteristics. There's another one there, Mpre, but Mpre used to be speaking the Gonja language, but it is not a Guan language. Yes, they may have one borrowings, but the language is not Guan. Then again, there is the Kplan, also known as the Prime. And they are also around the Atebubu areas, all in the Sene district of the Bono East region. And they also speak a dialect of the northern Guan languages. So obviously it's a little different from each other. And then you also have this Kokoma. Yeah. And yeah. Okay. But when you try Dwan, you are say very well. Although they are spoken in the Bono East and they have characteristics with Ntsumburuns and Krachi, which are all northern Guan languages, Dwan tend to preserve southern Guan characteristics. Because, fine, northern Guan language have this k for singular words, and then the way that the southerners will say it, they use. So, assuming hand in southern Guan is Aba, the northern Guans would rather say it as Kba for hand, then they'll use this way it's said in South Aba, they'll rather use that for plural, which is hands. Assuming Akutu is how the southern Guans are called orange, the northern Guans will say Kukutu for orange, then the Akutu rather be oranges. So how the southern Guan say it, to them is plural, and then they always use the k to singularize words. So for example, in southern Guans, ewu is house, so the northern Guans will rather add a k and say kewu for house or home, then the ewu rather for homes or houses. So the way the southerners will say, they say it as plural, then they add the k to singularize those words, and Dwan does that also. But when you check the numerical system of the Guans, all the northern Guans want to say one, Okomfo, like Nari and Co, all of them, Okomfo, Nari, Ntsumburuns, Krachi. Okomfo is 1, Anyo is 2, Asa is 3, Ana is 4, Anu is 5. But when you check Dwan, Okori, Anwe, Ase, so the Okori, they've changed it. They are trying to come to the southern Guan, which is Oko or Ako. So they say Okori, Anwe, Ase, Ana, Anu. 6 is Asie in all of them. 7 Asuno. Then the northern Guans, all of them up to Gunja, they all say 8 as Abruwa. But then the Dwan, they will say Ache. And that's how all the southern Guans say. So even when you check latte, Che, Chirepon, Chi, Efutu, Eche, Inzima Moche, and goes on. Anyi Moche, the Che. But northern Guans, they use the Abruwa. So Dwan, and then maybe hurry up. All the southern Guans, they use Urona for hurry up. But Dwan, say it like the southern Guans, Bomo Inte. That can also say Yeno Intem. So the Intem, okay, the Dwan still maintains the Inte, like how all the southern Guans say it. Even the Nzimers will say it as Inde. Then the Dwan will also say Inte. But then the northern Guans, all of them use urona. So Dwan, to some extent, although it's in the north, it still maintains its southern characteristics. It's somehow in between. but it is clearly evident it's northern Guan, but it tries to be a little bit conservative of its southern characteristics, which has also affected the Wiase variant. Is there any question? Feel free to ask and I'll be glad to assist you. Like I said earlier, you can support me by purchasing my book No Ghana Better. The soft copy and the hard versions are all available, and those books contain detailed histories and maps of all the individual tribes in Ghana, their histories, their languages, everything, festivals, tourist sites, everything. And also, if you want to learn Ghana and then you need free books, just visit my blog historicalhuniah.blogspot, which may soon change to huniah-Yourhighness.com starting from 2026. For now, historicalhuniah.blogspot.com it is. But nonetheless, from 2020, if you still write the historicalhuniah.blogspot, it will still work. Just that I would set a custom domain and redirect it. So if you write historicalhuniah.blogspot.com, it will still open. But to this time to write huniah-Yourhighness.com, and if you write huniah-Yourhighness.com, it will open. But that would begin from 2020. But for now, it's just historicalhuniah.blogspot.com. Okay. Now you can download free Ghana books, free Dangbe books, and very soon I'm bringing out a Ghana English dictionary, okay, which you can purchase for me, but at a subsidized price. It is free for those taking private lessons though, but those who just need it would have to purchase it. But that one too may likely be released from March 2026. Alright, if anything, I would update you. So do you have any questions? If not, catch you in the next lesson.
It's Genesis on the beat.